David, how you doing this morning, man?
Good, Todd. How are you?
Thanks for coming on short notice. Really appreciate it. You're always a good chap when to come on. So markets, let's start there, and then I want to get to Georgia. Commodity markets are being roiled this morning with. I said in the show we're in the middle of an information war and information op, and you've got coming out on both sides, and it's really flipping the markets. It almost makes you wonder if it's intentional. But what say you? What's happening in the markets?
Yeah. So this is what we call our just kidding moment, where it looks like Armageddon is going to happen. I thought the markets would be down like 1,000 points, coming into this morning because we had such a disaster last week. And then, and then apparently, a little while ago, the president says, just kidding. We've been having great conversations with Iran. And now the market's up 1,000 points. Oil is down $10 a barrel. Gold is only down $110 an ounce. It was down 230. Silver's down 10 cents an ounce. It was down like $2 or $3 or $4. I mean, I can't even keep up with it. Things are just moving so ridiculously fast. So I'm actually kind of tired of it, if you can tell.
Yeah, no kidding. So how do clients, how do you advise clients in this kind of, this kind of volatilities? Actually, it's less volatile than I thought. I'm with you. I thought we'd have a big correction, but obviously maybe the market sensed this wasn't going to happen. But how do you guide people through this kind of thing?
Well, the best advice I can give people is, if you think back, so I'm 56 years old, and what I can tell you is that during my lifetime, every time that the stock market had a disastrous fallout, if you didn't sell in advance and built up some cash and you stayed fully invested, if you waited, it was 6 months to 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, the market's back at an all-time high. So if you don't need the money, then don't panic. That's kind of what our job is to do, is to make some of those asset allocation decisions. We're very fortunate. We've actually got a pretty decent slug of cash right now because things were they just looked like they were getting bad. And the problem is that every time you built up cash in the past, we would have another just kidding moment and the stock market would go up and you'd feel like an idiot because you had cash. Right now, I just think it's the prudent thing to do because we haven't had any kind of war like this, in a long, long time. So it's producing way too much uncertainty. Markets hate uncertainty. To me, the most troubling thing is the fact that in the last 2 weeks, the 10-year treasury, the yield on the 10-year treasury went from like 4.2 to 5. And people that are trying to buy houses right now, if you're calling your mortgage broker right now and going, hey, what's going on with interest rates? They've got some really bad news for you, at least they did last night, because I haven't looked at interest rates, this morning.
The 10 years backed off a little bit to like 4.30 handle. So it's not as high as it was, but it's still way higher than it was a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah. It's just it's ridiculous, the kind of volatility that we're seeing, and we don't need to have this. Listen, people out there can disagree with me. We did not need to go out and pick this fight. Me personally, I'm amazed that our president was talked into imminent threat of Iran. Iran hasn't even tested nuclear missiles, and yet Israel has got 90 plutonium-tipped nuclear warheads in silos, like right now. So it's just like, I don't. Maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't understand. Who's calling the shots, why they're calling the shots, and why we're seeing so much that's going on here. Maybe it's 5D chess that's just beyond me. But what I can tell you is that it's upsetting to see this kind of volatility. It's unneeded. It's like shooting yourself in the foot when you didn't even need to pull your gun out.
Well, it's going to be a lot harder to get to that golden age, right? Or is it? What do you think?
Listen, you guys have been listening to me say this for like the last 2 years. As long as the government keeps printing money, stocks go up, real estate goes up, gold goes up, silver goes up. It all goes up. A great example of this was in 2021 in Venezuela. Their version of their Dow Jones Industrial Average is something called the Merval, and it was around 47,000, about where we are today. Right? Today, it's at 2.4 million. They didn't invent like some type of new iPhone or find some gigantic gas reserves or something like that. They just printed a ton of money. And that's what banana republics do. The United States is we're kind of doing the same thing, not to that same degree, but the thesis, still works the same way.
So that brings me to the credit markets. I was talking to my colleague Tom Teague about this. Is that the canary in the coal mine? Because you're having all these credit funds, private credit funds lock up redemptions and not give money back, and the 10 years a lot higher. I mean, it's a major move in interest rates. Are you seeing this kind of 2008-ish kind of thing in the credit markets or not? Or is that
I don't think we're going to have anything like that happen. I mean, that's just me personally speaking here.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of what I see is several years ago, I was getting telephone calls all the time from vendors that were saying, "Hey, we've got this private credit fund. You should
Mm-hmm.
take a look at this." And basically, for those that don't know, a private credit fund is it's an organization that takes in money from investors, and then they turn around and they lend it to other people who maybe they're credit worthy, maybe they're not, maybe they don't have access, to the bond markets.
Mm-hmm.
But so it becomes like a private transaction, thus the word private credit. And those bonds might be paying like junk bond kind of yields. I tend to, shy away from things like that. Not a big fan of it because I know that at some point you have liquidity issues where you can't get to your money. That's exactly what's going on right now. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue because there's just an unbelievable amount of money that's already existing in the world and that's continuing to be printed.
All right, well, let's switch to Georgia, but before we let you go, I'm going to get back to your business. But you sent me 2 videos, and I have them ready. So if you want to tell me which ones you want to play, but what happened in Georgia recently?
All right, so there's a bunch of activists, myself included, that we have been battling for 5 or 6 years now, or going on 6 years, trying to get the election system in Georgia thrown out in favor of using hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots counted at the precincts. Now, all of the people that are part of this group called GAVRIA, which is the Georgia Elections Director, it's like the Georgia Elections Directors Club, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's headed up by this Democrat that that is just utterly would love to get a job, I think, with Brad Raffensperger. Every time I see Brad Raffensperger and this guy there, he's constantly cozying up to him. And we've been trying like mad to try and get these machines thrown out. And the Georgia system, or the Georgia Elections Directors Group, is out there advocating against us and saying, no, we need to keep the current system. It's totally fine. Now, in the last 5 years, we found so many holes, so many errors, so many miscounts, we found machine errors, we found human errors. We just found so many instances where it just doesn't make sense to use these things. The software is old. The software was built with something called SQL Server running in the background that you can get access to if you know the password. And guess what? The password's not really that hard. In California, in California, it was California 2019 ! In Georgia,
wasn't the password listed in the software in Georgia or something like? Is that what
in Georgia? It's DVS Corp. 08 ! It's just
yeah.
We've got like. Yeah, I mean, you might as well make the password 1 2 3 4 5. I mean, only an idiot would do that. But that's what we have in Georgia. But anyway, I sent you this video this morning, but it's critically important because a guy named Mark Davis, he's a cyber security and software engineer, and he's also a huge election security advocate. And he was testifying to the Georgia House. I forgot the name of it. The House. What do we call it? Georgia.
The tweet.
Called it the
House Government Affairs.
Yes, House Government Affairs. All right, and they whenever somebody testifies, they make a video of this thing so that anybody who can't be there can go back and watch it. And they very sneakily went in and clipped out 10 seconds of critical video, and that's what I want you to play right here.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Warm welcome here at the National Press Club. Welcome to the journalists, welcome to the Embraer team, and welcome to the other guests that we have here. We're going to announce, and as some of you guessed it right when they came in, the first E2 order by an American operator. And that operator is Avello. We believe this is really a strategic shift to unlock profitability for the customer. I'm very pleased that we have Andrew Levy here as the CEO of Avello, and I'm very pleased to give the stage to share a little bit more about what Avello is going to do with the E2 195. Thank you very much.
Couldn't be more excited to be here as part of this historic announcement. We have such a great cultural fit as companies, so we're very, very excited to be Embraer's newest customer. We launched our airline in April of 21, and our target is focusing on small secondary airports of large metro areas. We've carried over 8 million customers since we started on 63,000 flights. And we've done all these things with 1,200 of the greatest crew members I could ever imagine having, and many of them are here with me today. This is the right airplane for us. It's going to open up opportunities for us that no other aircraft can serve. The best thing about the airplane, of course, is you will not find a middle seat on this airplane. It doesn't exist. We won't have any to offer. It's going to be the best cabin in the United States, and we're so excited about that. This is going to elevate our experience to the highest level, and we think our customers are absolutely going to love the airplane.
All right, so you want the tweet or the longer one, or the one Mark?
Play the shorter one that I sent you. I think I sent you one that was maybe like a minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I got it. Here we go.
There are absolutely, I know you guys have heard this, but I've got the proof right here. Backdoors built in to electronic voting systems that allow flipping, changing of votes. So the testing labs.
Wow. I can't believe they did that. Did you hear that? Watch it again and pay attention to the time in the upper right corner.
So look at the upper right
that
corner.
Allow
the time
flipping, changing of votes. So the testing labs.
Can you believe that? So much for government transparency, I guess. Well, how about we just put that audio right back where they clipped it out so everyone can hear it. Enjoy.
That allow flipping, changing of votes, infiltrating the system, all built in, set up in a way that makes it easy and untraceable. I can demonstrate this to you even while I'm still here in this building. I'm happy to do so. The testing labs all miss this. Then they're blindly certified, and then we're told, it's shoved down our throats that everything is safe and secure. It's absolutely not. We're being lied to from the very top. The whole thing is built on a pyramid of lies, and we have to stop living these lies. I will educate you. I can show you guys the problem.
Go ahead.
It's not no issue. I'm happy to do so. But we have to be.
All right. So what blows my mind is that this system was selected by something called the Safe Commission. Mm-hmm. The Safe Commission, the people in the Safe Commission were all appointed by then Secretary of State Brian Kemp. The machines were procured even though this election group that I told you about, the election directors group of Georgia, said absolutely not, do not buy the Dominion system. It's a hunk of crap because we think that it's insecure. And it's, and it was the lowest bid. Georgia picked it because it's the lowest bid, maybe because, Brian Kemp said to pick it. But the bottom line is that it's an insecure system with back doors. It's hackable. People can get into it. And I'm absolutely sick of seeing the denials that are going on, because what it tells me is that the politicians that we have down at the Gold Dome today, they're going to adjourn like in 2.5 or 3 days here. They're either willfully ignorant, they want to ignore it because maybe it benefits them, or they're just in on it. But in all cases, the fingers all point back to Brian Kemp. And I'm absolutely just sick of seeing, what's going on in Georgia. They've known that the system has been insecure for the last 5 years. And for 5 years, we've heard, oh, we can't do anything about it because we have an election coming up. We can't do anything about it because there's too many of these devices out there. We can't, it's all the same nonsense. We can't do anything about it because all we get is excuses. And right now, folks, your ballot doesn't mean anything. We are participating in selection ceremonies and approvals. The politicians are chosen for us by the kingmakers like Kemp and other folks. And then when we go and vote in an election, we are just approving their selections. And it's not real.
So we just had, to that point, an attempt to get a bill through the Georgia legislature, which would provide for paper ballots, right? And the excuse was used, well, we're too close to the election. We can't do it. They've had 5 years. But we're too close to the election, and we're going to do it in 28 or 29, or we'll get to it. And wow, I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about, right?
Right. And what's happening right now, unfortunately, Burt Jones, who was supposed to be, the favorite for running for lieutenant governor, he's getting blasted by Rick Jackson. I think that. I mean, this is just my opinion. I think that Rick Jackson is clearing a path for Raffensperger to get in there.
To take out Burt?
Yeah, to take out Burt. He was attacking Keisha Lance Bottoms. Rick Jackson was attacking Keisha Lance Bottoms, last week. That helps Jeff Duncan. So Jeff Duncan will rise up to be the Democrat running for it. If he knocks out Burt, then I really don't think Rick Jackson will make it all the way. But if he does, he does. If he doesn't, then Raffensperger makes it. And then, you got to think about this. Rick Jackson is spending $50 million. Sounds like a huge amount of money. Okay. But from 2020 until last year, Jackson Healthcare got $1 billion of no bid contracts from the state of Georgia. If I could go spend, $500, or if I could go spend 50 million to get $1 billion, basically invest 5% and get 20x return on my investment, I would do that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And that's kind of what I think is going on here. You have a 71-year-old man who's retired. I don't think he wants a full-time job as a governor. So I've got suspicions up everywhere, and a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. And when it doesn't make sense, you have to dig deep and try to figure out what's going on.
That's kind of how I roll, man. You feel something's off, and you just got to start digging and try to, because everybody's creating narratives, man. You got all these influencers, you got AI, you got market manipulation, you got all this trying to create something. And I think Americans have to really drill down, and that's why I love having you on. Tell me about U.S. Asset Management. How do you deal with customers? I'm a lady in Idaho. I'm listening. I got $500,000 in my 401k from a union job. What's going on? How do I deal with it?
The thing to do is give us a call. Our job is to help figure out how to get from point A to point B. Point B is through retirement to the end of life without running out of money. That's our job is to help plan for that and to figure out how we're going to get from point A to point B. There's a ton of people that are out there. They're working with the large firms, or they're an unimportant client to like 4 or 5 different people who have no idea that all the money that you got needs to be working together, harnessed going forward. We are very fortunate. We've got a really good relationship with our custodian, Fidelity, and they've got if you've got an account with them, you actually have the ability to assign us as the investment manager to make investment decisions for you. So that's something we can do, and it's as simple as signing a form.
Wow, I've never heard of that. That's cool, man. I was in the business a long time ago, but it's changed a lot.
Yes, it has.
What else? Anything else needs to get out?
Right now, that's the main thing. So the session's going to end in Georgia here pretty soon. If you've got contacts with anybody, any of these legislators, reach out, let them know, let them see that video. If you don't know where to find the video, take a look on Twitter, look for GA ballots, and you should be able to do a screen share, or you can copy the link for that particular piece and send it over to them.
David, thanks so much, man. Really love your insight. Want to have you back soon. Take care.
Thank you.